What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here at beautiful Lake Point State Park by Lake Eufaula. We've got the fourth stop on the 2021 MLF Pro Circuit season here at Lake Eufaula. I'm really excited to get out there, man. It is a beautiful day today, and it's just killing me. I'm looking at the water right now through the trees, and I just want to be out there right now. But since we've got a new practice period coming up, and all those strategies that come with a practice period are starting to kind of work around in my head. I wanted to talk about a practice strategy that tends to be a little bit controversial as far as, you know, people being one way or the other on it, but is a very, very important topic when it comes to practice, and that is whether to shake fish off or to set the hook during practice. And this is a topic that anglers talk about all the time. There's some anglers that I've met that are hard set one way or the other, and a lot of anglers that are right there in the middle. I'm more in the middle on this topic, and I'm going to explain why, my thought process as to when I set the hook on a fish versus just shake them off. So just as a background, if you're new to tournament fishing, or you really don't know about tournament fishing that much, what I mean by shaking a fish off is a lot of guys believe that setting the hook on a fish and catching it during practice will limit your ability to catch that fish, or limit or eliminate your ability to catch that fish during the tournament. I don't agree or disagree. There's very few instances where I've caught the same fish during the tournament that I did during practice, but I have caught fish plenty of times that I caught during practice in the same area, same technique, that sort of thing. I just recently, actually last year at the Mississippi River, I caught one in the same exact spot on the same exact technique. And it immediately, as soon as the bait hit the water, the fish was on it both times. So you can catch fish during the tournament that you caught during practice. So, but a lot of guys believe that if you set the hook on a fish in practice, it's not going to bite during the tournament. Again, some of them, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're incorrect. So one of the ways that guys will shake fish off during practice, anglers are very, very crafty. And one of the ways that they do it is if they're using soft plastic baits that maybe they're Texas rigging or wacky rigging or whatever rig that they're using for soft plastics, they'll use a screw lock type deal that allows them to screw into the bait without a hook, and they just tie directly to that. And I do the same thing, but since I use ElaZtech baits, those screw locks don't tend to work very well, so I use this little pin right here. This is actually the spike on the back of the TRD Spins the Z-Man makes, but this spike right here with this little plastic barb keeper works really, really well with the ElaZtech and traditional soft plastic too. So I'll just stick that in the bait, maybe add a little bit of super glue to it, and then I just tie my line directly to that loop, and I take off the spinner, of course, and the swivel assembly. But so I'll actually use that just like guys use a screw lock. Other ways of shaking fish off and not hooking them during practice is to put like surgical tubing or aquarium tubing over the hooks, bend the hooks in if it's like a treble hook. Even clipping hooks off is another way that guys eliminate the chance to hook a fish during practice. But let's talk about my reasoning for both setting the hook on fish and also shaking fish off. And then I also want to hear your opinions on this topic in the comments section. So please sound off in the comments when it comes to this topic. I know that there's a lot of people that are on one side or the other or right there in the middle, and I want to hear your opinion. But let's get right into my opinion on why I do and when I do set the hook on fish during practice. So first off, practice is all about strategizing. You're trying to eliminate water and eliminate techniques so you can narrow your search and your overall tournament strategy down to a certain number of baits and a certain area of the lake or areas. And so to be able to eliminate areas, you need to get a lot of data while you're out there practicing. You need to figure out those areas that tend to hold bigger fish. You need to figure out those techniques that tend to hold or catch bigger fish. And to do that, if in most situations, the only way to do that is to set the hook on fish to see what size they are, what their condition is, and whether or not you think that they're residential fish or they're actually a school of fish that are kind of coming in a wave, you know, whether it's during a spawning season or whatever seasonal transition it may be. You've got a nomadic group of fish. And the reason that's important is because a nomadic group of fish tend to be a very similar size class. And so if you catch a 3-pounder, if you catch 2 3-pounders, there's probably quite a few more in that 3-pound class. And so that's really important information. But if you catch one solitary 6-pounder that's real skinny, it's dark, it's got a 10-pound head on a 6-pound body, that's probably a fish that is all by itself, and there's not a whole lot of fish that size. There may be plenty of fish that size, but the odds are that you're going to see a lot of different size class of fish in an area that holds residential fish. You could catch a big fish, you could catch a bunch of small ones, and so that's an important factor. So during a normal tournament, like, you know, say a fishery like Eufaula that generally is fishing really good, you're going to get plenty of bites, and really your main goal is to figure out exactly where the biggest fish are in this lake and what they're eating. This is a type of situation I'm going to set the hook on at least 2 fish in an area on a certain technique, because I want to be able to see that quality and the condition that those fish are in. And so that's important data for me to start formulating a decision. If I went out on Eufaula and didn't set the hook on any fish, not only would I not be able to tell exactly which areas are holding generally bigger fish, but I wouldn't even know if they're actually bass for the most part. You know, there's mudfish, there's all kinds of stuff that could be, you know, biting your lure in Lake Eufaula. So to me, if the lake's fishing decent, you know, if you're able to get plenty of bites, setting the hook on fish in practice is not a bad thing, in my opinion. If 2 fish in an area is going to hurt you during the tournament, then you're just not in the right area to begin with on a lake like this. Now, the other side of the spectrum, when I don't set the hook on fish and I shake them off during practice, is when I'm on a lake that is very, very tough, number one. If the lake is very, very tough, whether it's because it's the season or just because it's just a lake that doesn't have a whole lot of keepers in it, that's a situation that I'm going to probably shake fish off. I don't want to catch a bunch of fish in a lake that doesn't have a bunch of fish. That'll really hurt your chances during a tournament, especially during like fall time tournaments. You know, during the fall, the bite is the hardest everywhere. You know, September, October, and sometimes even early November can be extremely tough. And so I don't want to set the hook on many fish on most of these lakes. So if it's on a tough lake at a tough time, and I know that just getting keeper bites is at a premium, that's when I won't set the hook on fish. Another instance that I won't set the hook on fish is when I can visibly see them, whether that's clear water or fishing top waters. If I can visibly see the fish and I know what kind of quality they are, there's no need for me to go around setting the hook on them. So if you're in a type of situation like if I'm throwing a frog during practice, I'll cut the hooks off of that frog because I can pretty much gauge what size fish they are when they eat that bait. Not every time, but there's a degree of certainty that I have and accuracy that I have, being able to guess what size of fish or size class of fish I'm getting to eat a topwater bait. So topwater baits, I'm generally a lot more you know, willing to cut the hooks off or bend them in and just shake those fish off. I just want to visibly see what they are. So and also in clear water, you know, again, a lot of times in clear water I'm fishing far enough away or deep enough, then I'm not going to see the fish. But if I can see the fish, maybe it's up shallow during the spring, I'm not going to set the hook on them. I'm just going to make note of the size class of fish that I'm seeing. So overall, that's kind of my strategy for setting the hook on fish. I think that it's a smart move in some situations to set the hook and know what you're up against, and then sometimes I think it's a really smart move to shake those fish off and not burn them for the tournament. So I want to hear what your strategy is. What is your opinion on this topic? I want to know exactly, you know, what you end up doing during a tournament practice day. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also keep up with me during this event. If you're watching this before this event, make sure that you keep up with all the action on MajorLeagueFishing.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get on Lake Eufaula. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you out on the water. Take care.